Hey guys, Cam from 15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another dual episode review for My Happy Marriage. Um as I only got two more episodes left to review before the new season comes out, which I believe will be coming out next week or the week after New Year's. I don't know. Haven't checked. And everything. So, look, I was actually debating if I should do like these episodes separately because they contain a lot of stuff, like a lot of like crazy good stuff and everything, right? But I'm like, you know what? Let me just do a dual episode review for these. I said I was going to do it, but yes. This is episodes 11 and 12. And man, both episodes were really damn good. And kind of also is the whole process where we get to at the end of season one, with Mio and Kudo being in unison and everything. So, obviously, the last episode left off on this whole, Mio's supernatural abilities still continuing to be a problem and awakening her in terms of giving her nightmares. So then, what she actually ends up doing, or what Kudo ends up doing after they have a little bit of an argument, he takes her to Arata's place. I forgot to mention that in the last episode, actually, that he takes her to Arata's house residency, which is Mio's actual her original family's home. So we see her grandfather, and we see Arata, who we find out is related to her as well. And basically, what we see there is we see Mio's grandfather, and it's Arata's grandfather, which was Mio's mother, right? So you see, it's crazy. It's crazy to get. It was crazy to get like all this revealed the last, at the last time, right? And it kind of really puts the pieces together with where we go in the story, and everything, especially hinting, with where it happened, what is, I guess, going to be happening in season two a bit. So essentially, Arata is not shocked that Kudo brought Mio to his house of residency. And basically, it becomes kind of an argument over Mio's, like, in terms of what's best for her. And essentially, you know, she's Mio starts to feel better, right? So, and the reason why she's feeling better is because the presence of the household essentially, there's some like presence that relieves any members of that said family. So Mio's obviously in it now. This is when you kind of get an argument discussion about like, hey, um, you know, this is what's best for Mio, and I think it's best for Mio that she stays here. Now, Kudo vehemently disagrees with this notion, and he's just like, no, I totally do not agree that, she should stay, with you or anything. Like, I'm her fiance. She has every right to stay with me and everything. And basically, he's talking about how, the fact that he could keep her safe and everything. And Arta kind of like throws kind of a slight dig and everything, and says like, well, yeah, that may be the case, but I actually know what's going on in your work. I know that there is the seal that's been, removed, and you guys gotta take care of that. And that's really left you left poor little Mio all by yourself while she's trying to understand, the abilities of her abilities, which we get confirmed that her abilities is dream sight. And essentially dream sight is essentially, an ability that's able to affect other people's dreams and everything. Crazy ability she's got, and that's why she's been getting these nightmares, right? And it's because of the ability of her supernatural powers that are awakening within her. That's why it's leading to these nightmares. And this dude's basically like, how can you take care of your poor wife, or your fiance or whatever, if like, you're essentially out and about working? Like, surely you should understand and know that, right? And albeit he does make a good point, because we've seen like the last few episodes, he's been more focused on work and hasn't really been focused on Mio. Even though like he was told by the maid and even told by his sister, like, hey, I think you need to look out for your fiance, but obviously, you know, he's so busy with work and everything, he has no time to do that. And when he does, he kind of gets a little bit aggressive on her and everything. Obviously, understandably, because he's worried and he feels like she's not telling him anything. So that's the thing. So, anyways, it all comes to blows. And essentially, they say, like, her grandfather and Arata say, like, hey, listen, this is what's best for her, and it's to stay. And if you don't like it, well, then here's what we can do. We can actually have a duel, right? So if we have a duel, we'll be able to figure out if I win. Arata says like if he wins, like Mio stays here at the household and you have to leave, right? But if you win, well, you can do what you want with Mio. You can take her and everything. So you have that whole thing. So you have the fight between Kudo and Arata, and shockingly enough, you have it to where Kudo loses, and I was absolutely shocked. Like, it looked like Kudo was getting the upper hand. Now, also another thing I forgot to mention in this whole dialogue, this discussion, scene, basically over the custody, I guess you can say, of Mio, right? Mio tried to say some things, but Kudo was honestly kind of over shouting her and wasn't letting her give her opinion, right? Because Kudo's kind of in his mindset, like, I know what's best for Mio, and the best thing for Mio is to stay alive. And the dude even threw in his face, like, well, okay, if you say her living with you is the best, well, then why did she end up getting drugged? Why did she end up getting kidnapped by obviously by her father's side of the family, right? And why was she beaten so badly because of it? And it's like, okay, clearly, it's like, clearly if you really took care of her, then that would have never happened, right? She never would have gotten kidnapped, right? So another, again, like I was saying, like, he was kind of overshooting with Mio. Like, Mio tried to get something and say something and everything, but Kudo was just overshouting her, and really nobody was paying attention, right? So it's kind of that whole thing is like, she feels like she's been a burden. She even says, because they even asked her, like, so Mio, what do you feel like this? And Mio literally says, like, look, I don't care, because she feels like she's been a burden to Kudo, and she doesn't want him to worry her or anything, or he doesn't want him to worry about her, right? And that makes it to where Kudo's just like, what is going on, right? So they have their duel. Arata fights with a pistol, and Kudo's going for sword, and you just have it to where at some point he kind of nicks Kudo with a gunshot, right? But he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm aiming with your hilt. Now his ability was like making like copies and illusions of himself, right? But the thing is, Kudo obviously is pretty strong and everything, and obviously Arata can tell, and it looks like he's gonna get the upper hand and he's gonna win eventually at some point too. What's his face? Mio tries to get involved. And her grandfather's like, no, you can't. You're gonna get involved and you get caught up in the attack. So what happens is after Kudo fires off a fireball attack, right? He's going in to like charge to finish off and basically probably get Arata to submit. But Arata used an illusion of Mio, and she's like, stop, and which was kind of fucked up, right? And shot through that illusion and basically got Kudo's sword to get out of his hand, right? And by then he's like, well, you've lost the match. So because of it, Kudo loses. He loses the right to stay with Mio, and Mio's charging at him, basically saying like Lord Kudo and everything, right? And basically gets sent away through this bubble and gets teleported back to obviously his household, right? And he's just kind of there, obviously lost and dejected that he lost and everything. And I was just, now I remember when I first watched, it's like, bruh, what the hell? And then it's like he gets his sister comes over, and his sister's, I love how his sister was like so disappointed. She's like, I can't believe you just left and everything. If you cared about Mio so much, then you should go right back and go get her. And obviously, Kudo's like, well, it's a duel, so I lost and I can't go back on the duel. And, Kudo's sister, um, she's just like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, go get your wife, damn it. I'm not gonna let you let this girl that has opened you up and changed you for the better, you know, you're just gonna forget about her and act as if lost and you kept her there, right? So, it was a sad thing in that episode. So then it then gets followed up by the next episode where then we get backstory about Mio's mother, Sumi, right? And we get some actually deep backstory. And the thing is, we find out the past few days, she's been asking to go see Kudo, but obviously Arata and her grandfather are kind of just like, don't worry about it anymore. Like, your goal here is to stay here. And it just leads to a conversation between her and her grandfather of the whole fact of about her mother and about Sumi. And you get some backstory about Sumi. So you find out that what ended up happening is Sumi and her grandfather, which is her father, they obviously had a company. They were very wealthy in the company, but eventually that wealth was starting to dry up, and at some point, they were running out of money and they were getting close to potentially being in debt, right? So that's then when you had what is it? Hold on. That's when you had the Saimoris come involved. The Saimori family comes in, right? And the Saimoris basically give these like marriage proposals to obviously Sumi's family, Mio's family, right? And basically use these marriage proposals of saying like, hey, we can help out with the payments, so you guys don't get into debt, as long as you have, your daughter marry into the Saimori household, right? And the thing is, Mio's grandfather kept rejecting them. He was like, no, we're not going to agree to that. And they continuously kept going back and continuously, kept giving some proposals and everything. And he's just like, nah, we're not going to do that. We are good, right? So the thing is, eventually at some point, Sumi felt like it was taken into her own hands, and she actually responded, and she ended up agreeing to the Saimori's, marriage proposal, right? And she was going to get married. Now, the thing is, her father, which is Mio's grandfather, got very upset by this, and he was in utter shock. And the thing is, he was telling her the whole purpose. And it kind of gets later addressed later in the episode, because the whole thing is because we know like Mio doesn't understand what like having a family is, and what having loving family members truly means to her, because she's always been in the abusive household of the Saimoris and everything, right? So because of this, in a weird way, she got married even if she disagreed with it. Obviously, Mio's grandfather was very pissed off about it, right? Did not approve of this one bit. And he was under shock of why she would do that. And he basically told me, it was like, the moment she left the household, like, that was the last time I saw her again. That was the last time I saw her again. And he never saw her again, even when she did die. And it's also a real life thing, like, it's a real life thing because you don't want to have like obviously a family disagreement, and it's a real life thing because it's like, yes, family's going to disagree. Families sometimes are going to have an argument, and maybe they distance themselves from each other because of certain situations and everything, right? Or a situation that you may have done, but like you can't let that deter anything between it, because at the end of the day, you are family. And you don't know, if you do end up like just breaking away from them, that could be the last time you actually affiliate with, your family. And that one family member, because that could be the last time you see them ever again. And that was the last time Mio's grandfather saw his mother, because the thing is, obviously that's when she ended up getting sick and everything, because she wasn't living in the household that kept her safe. And then she also had the dream side ability as well. So then what she did was she basically negated that ability for that amount of years within Mio, after she gave birth, because she knew like Mio has these abilities. And obviously Samoris were like doing it because they know, okay, she has an ability, the daughter should have an ability, a gift, right? But she repressed those gifts and hid those gifts from Mio and sealed them away from Mio. And she ends up like basically telling Mio's baby, like, look, you're gonna go through a lot of pain, you're gonna go through a lot of suffering because I sealed your abilities, and I'm sorry for that you're gonna have to endure all that, but endure all of that. You'll find a way to overcome this and everything, and you'll get through this, right? um and it's a tragic story because she ended up dying, basically hiding that, and sealing it away and everything. And eventually, obviously, the seal's gonna pop. So obviously, as you see now with Mio, her dream side is obviously has now come awakened and everything. And that was the whole thing. You do have a conversation between Arata and Mio, and it's kind of the whole thing of Arata's like, listen, don't worry about Kudo anymore. I'm here to protect you. This is my duty. My task, my duty is to protect you. And he even makes the mention, like, that's not only just as your caretaker, but that's even as like a future husband for you. So this dude like legitimately says like his role is like, I'm gonna eventually have to be your husband, which is wild because it's like, well, you guys are related, so yeah. But then again, we're in this like ancient feudal era of Japan, to where technically, I guess you can say at this time period, like same family marriages in a weird way are okay in this time period. But even then, it's still crazy of the fact, and everything. Now, in the meantime, Kudo is still, doing his work. At the same time, it seems like he's trying to put behind what happened with Mio away, but it's truly still eating up at him. And it ends up affecting him to the point where the grotesqueries, they end up attacking him, and essentially gets attacked, and he's basically in an unconscious state, and he potentially is on the verge of dying, right? So what then happens in the tail end of the episode is Mio has another conversation with obviously her grandfather, because her grandfather knows, like, it's clear, I know you want to see Kudo. And they basically have a talk about like family, and Mio asks him a question like, do you know what it's like to have a family? Because I don't know what it's like. And essentially, she also brings up the point about like, disappointment and everything, and letting your family members down. And basically the grandfather is like, look, yeah, was I disappointed in what Sumi's decision was? Yeah, I was, but that didn't make me hate her. Deep down, I still love her. And my regret is I never got to see her before she died. And he does make the mention, like, his own actions is the reason why, he kind of shunned her away from him. Like, because he was so upset over the fact that she took something into her own hands of feeling like, no, I feel like this is my duty to help the family out and help you out, father. I'm going to go through with this marriage proposal, as much as I don't want to go through it, and as much as you don't want to go through it, right? And Mio's grandpa was like, at the end of the day, I shunned her away, and that's a mistake I made, but regardless, that's not going to change the fact that I loved her, and I will always love her, even the fact that she's gone. And I may have my regrets doing that, but I gotta wear that, right? And it's kind of a way to tell Mio, like, hey, don't have, don't have regrets over stuff that you obviously have an outcome you can change. If you feel like you need to change and make things right, we'll do it. Fix it in the now, and don't be like me, where you wait years down the road and you make a decision regretting. It's also like the same decision, Mio had with Kudo's sister, where she talked about how she regretted the way she handled the divorce with her husband, you know, rushing into a decision way too fast without just taking some time to sit away or maybe get away from the situation, think a bit, and then just be like, okay. And then it was her, obviously, their mother that told him, like, I think you made a mistake, you know. And by then she realized, like, it was too little, too late, you know. And it's this whole thing, and it's kind of been this whole thing with Mio, you know, telling her, like, hey man, don't have these regrets, you know. If you need to say something, say it, you know, say it in the here and now. Don't leave it bottled up, because if you leave it bottled up, well, you could have those regrets 20 years down the road, that where you could say, I could have handled this differently, and everything. And you know, I love it where all these people, these individuals in her life that obviously care about her a lot, you know, they're willing to have her change. And you even have it where her grandfather's like, you know, I see you, I see my daughter in you, and you know, you're the thing that I care about most. As much as I love my daughter, I love you too, Mio. So you kind of have it to where Mio fully accepts her dream site awakening. She has a nice, you know, moment with her mother, where her mother's like just giving her obviously approval, and is happy for her and everything. And then obviously, you know, Mio comes to you know, comes to acceptance about it, about her abilities and everything. So that's all good. And essentially what happens in the episode of Arata shows up talking about, like, hey, you know, Kudo's not in a good spot right now. And obviously, you know, he tells me, I was like, look, I know as much as I want to stop you, I know I can't. I know you want to see him, but there's something I gotta tell you. Now, the grandfather's like, I can't let you. So this thing gets involved the Emperor stuff. Basically, he goes on to say, like, the Emperor made a deal with, you know, obviously their family, um, to be able to basically take away the individual dream site, and basically take care of dream site, and make sure that nobody on the outside or any other outside family had the actness to get that ability. And that was a decree and a deal made, with the Emperor. And Mio's like, wait, why would he do something? And Arta's like, I don't know why he would do something like that. That's all I know, is that that's what he said that we should do, right? So that's the thing that's shocking. Um, Basically, Mio rushes into Kudo's bedside, and obviously most of Kudo's family is there, or anybody that's close to Kudo is there. And basically, Art is like, well, if you want to save him, you know, I think it's time we put that dream side ability to use, you know. And basically what goes on into what was the season 1 finale, is Mio going in to save, Kudo. But the last 2 episodes were really damn good. I enjoyed those last 2 episodes, man. And yeah, but next time, I'll be talking about the last episode review, and then the OVA episode 14 thing that leads into season 2, and then I will officially be caught up. Shockingly enough, yes, I know. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more My Happy Marriage content and things like that. But till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Not return this video. Till then, guys, peace.